throughout the state of South Carolina, and they weren't able to see us. And they kept pushing us back, and I said, well, how about meeting us on November 1st and giving us a proclamation acknowledging that South Carolina will join in the national observance of National Native American Heritage Month. Well, he provided us with the proclamation, but he couldn't meet with us. So we went to the newspaper and we said, would you please go ask our governor why he will not meet with all of the native leaders, the native nations that represent South Carolinians' finest, the first people of this state. Well, the newspapers, the state newspapers, called his office and asked him that proverbial question, why won't you meet with our grassroots leaders, the native chiefs of all the tribes, whether it be the Catawba Indian Nation of York County, or the Waccamaw Indian people of Hainer, or the Santee Indian people of Holly Hill? And his office responded by calling me up and saying, you can come into our office on the 28th day of November, and we will officially give you the proclamation that we gave at the beginning of the month. And so I took a group of native leaders, a very large grouping, and we went in for the very first time since the colonial period and met with the governor. As we were in his office, we were welcome to know that he did not even know who was present in the room. He never took a ledger. For 300 years, they had ignored who the native people were in this state. And so it was upon that meeting that we began to work with the state level for the very first time in South Carolina. It's very recent, it's recent history, just the year 2000. So from 2000 to 2004, we met in a convened Indian ad hoc that he convened, and we were helped to change the laws, the South Carolina laws in this state, the code, so that Native American people could be acknowledged for who they were. And in that process, we were among the first 4 groups to become state recognized, the Cherokees. The Catawbas were already federally recognized as of 1994 through a loophole because part of their reservation had illegally been taken. We, the Cherokee people, had no reservation in this state because we were an honorable people that fought with the American revolutionists in 1776. We were honoring our trade agreements with the British Crown because we had treaties and agreements with the British Crown. And a lot of that history happened right up here. The Catawbas fought with the revolutionists. We fought with the loyalists, honoring our trade agreements. There were some battles up in this area between the Tories. That's our shared history, all of us. As an American people, as a Native people, as a non-Native people, as a South Carolinian. So we had been ignored ever since the American Revolution because we were never given a reservation. Actually, in 1775, they had a treaty with us, and our last treaty was signed in Oconee County in 1816, 10 years before the Indian Removal Act was signed in 1827 by another South Carolinian, Andrew Jackson. They wanted to take all of this land away from the native people, but we didn't ever want to leave our sacred Mother Earth, our homelands. And so many of us Cherokee people here in the upstate, we got our relatives to purchase property with money because we were a people of color, and it was illegal for us to own a property at that time in the history of South Carolina. So we got our relatives that happened to be of Scottish, of Irish ancestry to purchase property for us, and we stayed on that property, and that's why we're still here today. Some of us, of course, ran up unto those hills just 60 miles north and landed in some of our mountainous villages up Route 11, what we now call Qualla Boundary, the Cherokee Reservation in North Carolina. And up there we had to do the same thing. We got a gentleman by the name of Will Thomas, gave him our money, and he purchased property so that we could hide and stay on and reside on that land illegally because they wanted to remove us. They wanted all of us to march out to Oklahoma, but we did not want to go. One of our great leaders, a guy named Shah Lee, gave up his life and turned himself in so that the others could hide. That's the story that is told up there unto these hills at Kuala Boundary as we recount our history up there on the reservation. So some people ran from here in the upstate of South Carolina, following Route 11, and some ran from northeast Georgia to hide in the Smoky Mountains. Some of us stayed here, lived on our family's property, our private property. Those that were supportive of us as a people, and that's why we're here today. And so in 2004, we went before this state and we became state recognized. Our sachem, Pat Langley, of the Reedy River Intertribal Group is one of our enrolled members. He's somewhere around here. Be certain to greet him and say hello. In the Cherokee way, we say Osio.
Osio.
For all of you all that don't know Cherokee, Osio, one of the first languages of South Carolina, is how we greet people. That's how we say hello. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. I wanted to bring and show you this map. Here's the map of South Carolina. And as you can see, we have 27,000 people as far as the 2000 census states who still remain and claim and know that they are Native American and Alaska Native. They have self-identified themselves with regard to the census. Of that 27,000 people, they reside in a variety of different communities that are color-coded on this particular map. They are either Waccamaw, living toward the coast, in that peak area. They are either Wasmasaw, the Barnertown Indians, the Santee Indians of Holly Hill, the people that we call Edisto Indians because of the river, but they are really Natchez and Crusoe Indians. They're part of the Casabo Confederacy that was on the coast, down there near Ridgeville and Somerville, and Colleton County. We have